Hi, welcome back to GN Inspire, where we share all things related to education, career, and personal development. Today, I'll be sharing with you 5 tools that I have personally used or that I've personally seen changing trajectory of my life. For some of you who know my story, you know that in my Kenyan primary education exams, I had failed. I had 298 marks out of 500 marks. And I think I would be considered a failure. I had failed. And when I look back to where I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I had never dreamt that I'll be here today, where I am today. And while I was reflecting back, I thought of these 5 tools that I think they have been the reason why I'm here. I've not arrived. I'm still dreaming big and I'm still pursuing my career goals, my entrepreneurship goals, and all the things that I want to achieve in life. But hey, I'll share these tools and hopefully you can pick one or two. The first one is audacity. So I was reading Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way the other day. Marvelous book. I think if you're looking for a book to read, I would suggest that you pick that book. It changed my life. I think there are some books you read and you really, they are transformative. There are some books you read and they transform how you think and they empower you and embolden you, especially in your creative endeavors. So while reading that book somewhere, she says, audacity trumps talent most of the time. And I think it's true. If you're talented, say in singing, but then you don't stretch and try and sing and release songs, a lot of songs, and put the songs in the world and face that rejection, fear of failure, and all those things, then the person who might be less talented, but then they are releasing song after song, and putting themselves out there, in a few years, they'll be way ahead. And so, in my life, I remember back when in 2014, when the opportunity came to do PhD without a master's degree, but then I was so scared. But in the end, I decided to go with the audacious goal of doing a PhD without a master's degree. Really rare. People still ask me, is that even possible? Is it possible to do a PhD without a master's degree? They keep asking me. So anyway, the short answer is yes. But I'm just saying, the goal of doing a PhD without a master's degree, I was scared. Oh my goodness, I was so scared. It was an audacious goal. But then I survived it. I even wrote a book about how I survived the roller coaster of a PhD. For some of you guys who are in the process, well done. It's not an easy journey. It changes you. It's a lonely journey. It's a fulfilling journey. All the emotions as you go through the PhD. But then it was an audacious goal. I survived it. Number 2 is the dream or audacious dream of writing books. Again, from my story, like I mentioned, in my primary school exams, I had really failed. I had a C grade in English. I could not write. I could not converse well in English when I joined high school. But then I was hungry and I had this dream of one day writing a book. I had thought maybe I'll do this in my 40s, but then somehow I got a break in 2020 and I wrote my first book. In 2022, I wrote my second book, The PhD Journey, and hopefully I'll write many other books along the way. So I had never thought that I can be a published author writing at this stage or at this age, right? But then I decided to go with that audacious goal or that bold dream. So my advice to you guys is that dream that audacious goal, visualize it, visualize where you want to be. But most importantly, even after visualizing it, you've got to believe, because I think sometimes we can dream these audacious dreams, but then we doubt that we can achieve these dreams. Why do you doubt that you can get a good job? Why do you doubt that you can build the next big thing? Why do you doubt that you can get a good car? So I would say, well, these are the questions that I keep asking myself anyway. So sometimes when I doubt, I ask myself those questions, and then you sit down and try and address where those insecurities are coming from, where those doubts are coming from. then dream, visualize, believe, and work towards getting your audacious goals one step at a time. Number 2, curiosity. I recently watched this TED Talk on curiosity. You should also watch it. But I feel like so much. I feel like a lot of times, at least in my life anyway, I don't know where that was coming from, but there is just this tendency to use kind of a society script on how you should lead your life. Like after primary school, you go to high school, you score this grade, you go to undergrad, you score this grade, you do your postgrad or you get a job, you earn this money, you get married, you get kids. Like there is just this particular script. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I was reflecting that we follow kind of a strict script. I don't know where that is coming from. And we leave little room for curiosity. So my first curiosity moment happened in 2020, thankfully, because of COVID. I mean, COVID destroyed many things. But then when I look back now, it kind of just forced me to stop. It was uncomfortable, but in hindsight, I'm happy that it forced me to stop. So this is what happened. I defended my thesis in December of 2019 at Oxford. Then I flew to Kenya to prepare to depart for the US. I had gotten Schmidt-Science Fellowship that was taking me to MIT for my postdoc. But then I wanted some few months to just, go back home, correct my thesis. There were some corrections that I had been given. Then just reconnect with family because I had been gone for like 5 years. I was gone out of Kenya from 2015. And so after my defense in December of 2019, I flew to Kenya. And the plan was to do some corrections from my thesis that I had been given, submit it, which I did in February of 2020. But then the plan was to then relocate to the US to begin my postdoc April of 2020. And you all know that COVID happened and there was lockdown that was long and disrupted everything. So instead of flying to the US in April, I was locked down in Kenya. And of course, I was anxious, depressing, I think, initially. But then somehow, because there was really nothing I could do, like it was out of my control, out of anyone's control, really, I kind of embraced that free time. And I started drafting the content for my first book that I co-authored with a friend. And end of 2020, we were publishing the book, a small book with my stories and my co-author's stories, just telling students, especially from Kenya or where we've come from, that it's called the bold dream, that you can dream all these things like we mentioned, all these audacious goals, and you can persist. And if you don't lose hope, you can get there. So that was the theme of the book. While I was also drafting that book or writing that book, I joined a local soccer team. Those of you who know me, you know that I'm a soccer fan and I like playing soccer. So I joined a football team and it was fun. I played, I was resting. There was no to-do list on my email. I wake up and I decide what I want to do with the day. And it was amazing. At least for especially if you've gone through the PhD journey, you know how hard it is, how rigorous the thing is. And so all of a sudden you get this time where you have all this free time. It was perfect timing for me. I rested a lot. And so anyway, just saying, I've never forgotten how rejuvenated I felt. I finally relocated to the US in 2021 to start my postdoc. But then when I look back for the first time, I think without COVID, I don't think I've always felt this guilt of just taking a break. Like I feel like I should be always, there should be a project going on. But then anyway, that period of rest that was forced on us by COVID, I've never forgotten how it felt. And all the things that I was able to achieve that could not have happened without that break. But just an encouragement that as we run faster, as we chase for more, because the world will not happen by chance. You intentionally look for chances to take a break and smell the roses, to intentionally stop and smell the roses. Maybe in between jobs, you can give yourself 1 month or 3 months thereabout to just explore what else do you love. Explore your hobbies. What other career might you enjoy? Be curious and ask yourself, and intentionally take time to stop and smell the roses. Number 3, create immunity for rejection and failure. So as you chase these audacious goals in life, as you shoot for the moon, not all the shots will land in the moon. Most of them will land on stars or will fail to get to the moon, and it will hurt. It will hurt. There will be, people will talk, people will criticize. You will criticize yourself and all these things. So it's important that as you chase all these dreams, as you go ahead in life, you look for ways to create immunity, because failures and rejections will come and criticism will come your way. So you have to learn how to deal with those. There is this interesting concept called rejection therapy. Jia Jiang, I was reading this book recently, and very interesting. He said he wanted to expose himself to lots of rejections, to the point that he was no longer faced by rejections. Like, you would reject him and it would be just normal, because he'd exposed himself to so many rejections. So you read about his story. He to do this, to go through the rejection therapy kind of process, he exposed himself every day. He went out to expose himself intentionally, kind of seeking rejection intentionally. And he did all these interesting, weird rejection attempts, like asking $100 from a stranger, asking to teach in a school, seeking for a job in one day, and all these other things. You will check his website here. After 100 days, he learned so much, and he came back and he narrated his story. He even was given a platform at TED Talk. His TED Talk, I think, has 10 million views, and I think it resonates with so many people because it's a very interesting concept, and everyone faces rejections and criticism and failures, and sometimes we don't know how to deal with this. But he encourages us to go out in the world and seek those rejections until to the point that you get used to them almost. Number 4, stay flexible and be adaptable. So I've talked a lot about being adaptable. I talked about staying adaptable in one of I was called back to my alma mater to give a graduation address. And I narrated my story of how after campus, for some of you who know my story, I had very strong grades, very strong first class honors of over 80 points. But even with those good grades, I could not get a job. In hindsight, I think I could have done better in terms of even brushing my CV. I look at my CV from back then. It was not well done. I could have networked better. But those things aside, I was really struggling to get a job. I ended up working in a bank. I ended up doing online writing just to survive, because I didn't want to go back home in the village. I was gonna do whatever it took to stay in town. So anyway, in hindsight, back then, of course, it was painful that I could not get an engineering job or in the area that I trained. But then the job that I got at the bank, goodness, I really appreciate the skills, the soft skills that I learned there. The introduction to finance and banking, things that I had never thought about as an engineering student. The customer service, because at some point I was paired with customer service people, and so just how to deal with angry customers, how to welcome and make customers feel at home. Things, soft skills that I'm now using as I go through my career. So in hindsight, I'm happy that that happened, but then it's important to stay adaptable and flexible. Whatever comes your way in terms of whatever opportunity that comes your way. Sometimes it's not in the area you trained in, or sometimes it just doesn't make sense. But embrace it, grab it, learn from it, and continue pedaling your career bicycle. Like Steve Jobs said, the dots do not connect going forward. 5 years, 10 years, you will look back, and all those opportunities, even the ones that didn't make sense, the dots will connect perfectly well when you look back. And so whatever opportunities that you get, learn the most from them and move forward. Stay adaptable in career and out of career. The last one, number 5, is to just start and start scared. So all these audacious goals that you are dreaming of or you're working towards, if you do not start, then they are as good as just dreams. They won't come into reality. And the more, if the dream is bigger, you will feel paralyzed, you will overanalyze, you will over-prepare, and you will never take that first step. So this is what I've learned. And let me use the most recent example of this GN Inspire podcast and YouTube channel. When I was preparing to launch it mid-March, the idea came back in November 2023. But then I was so paralyzed. I consume a lot of YouTube and podcast, but I had never thought that I would be one of the people on the other side, like people producing content. I had never thought of that. But then when that idea came last year, November 2023, and it refused to leave me. Early this year, I decided, you know what, let's just stay curious, right? I was like, let's see what this can bring. Let's see if I'm good at creating content. Let's see if someone will subscribe. In fact, I thought maybe I'll just get 100 subscribers. Goodness, I'm now at 1,000, and thank you so much, guys, for believing in me and for offering feedback and leaving kind comments. Anyway, just to say, I was so paralyzed. I was thinking, how will I edit? Which software do people use to edit? How will I, all those things, where will I get guests? Because I wanted to bring guests to also share their stories. What if I run out of guests? You know, all these things, all these imaginary fires that our brains like to emphasize. I had all those. But then just one day in March, I set a deadline. Actually, I was like, before 20th of March, I was going to post the first episode. I think it was on a Tuesday? I don't know. But in February, I decided mid-March on a Tuesday, I'll post my first episode. It does not matter what it will be, but I'll just post something there. And yeah, I took that first step. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, of course, but I think that is how to go forward in life. You plan and prepare to your level best, but then you just take one step and you make mistakes. You correct, you try again. They call it fail fast or fail forward approach. So in whatever project or business idea or whatever you are dreaming of doing, you will never be 100% ready. And again, if you wait to be ready, it will be too late. The opportunity will be gone. So it's important to just prepare to your level best. But then just start scared, start unprepared, and then become an expert along the way. So anyway, those are my 5 tips or my 5 tools that have helped me to where I am, and I still use them or leverage them as I continue pursuing my career and personal goals. And I hope these tools will also help you be invincible. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next episode.